You got dressed this morning without thinking twice. A shirt, some pants, maybe a jacket. Routine, automatic, invisible. But what if the very fabric sitting against your skin right now is quietly doing something your body has been trying to tell you about for years? Not dramatically, not with obvious symptoms, just a low, persistent whisper, an itch you can't explain, a rash that appeared from nowhere, skin that never quite feels calm, a kind of dryness that no moisturizer seems to fix. Most people blame stress, or the weather, or aging. Very few people look at what they're wearing, and that might be the most overlooked health conversation happening right now. Here's something most people have never been told. 60 years ago, the average piece of clothing was made from cotton, wool, linen, silk, materials that came from the earth, materials the human body had coexisted with for thousands of years. Then, everything changed. The 1960s introduced synthetic fibers at industrial scale: polyester, nylon, acrylic, spandex. Suddenly, fabric could be manufactured faster, cheaper, and in almost any form imaginable. The fashion industry called it a revolution. Your skin had no vote. Today, roughly 60% of all clothing worldwide is made from polyester alone, and that number is still climbing, driven by the same force reshaping every industry: speed, volume, low cost. What we call fast fashion, what your body might call something else entirely. But the fiber itself is only part of the story, because before a garment ever reaches you, it goes through a process most consumers never see: bleaching, dyeing, anti-wrinkle treatments, flame retardants, anti-shrink coatings, antibacterial finishes, formaldehyde-based preservatives, used to keep clothes looking fresh during long shipping journeys across continents. One 2023 study from Stockholm University found detectable levels of potentially harmful chemicals in many garments purchased from major global fast fashion retailers. The researchers weren't looking for a few. They found hundreds of different substances. Some washed out with laundering, some didn't. And your skin, your body's largest organ, absorbs small amounts of whatever it stays in contact with. Not in alarming doses, not immediately, but daily contact, repeated over months and years. Some experts believe that's where the conversation becomes interesting. Think about what a synthetic fabric actually does to skin. Natural fibers breathe. They wick away moisture. They flex with the body's temperature, expanding in heat, releasing sweat naturally. Polyester doesn't breathe the same way. When you wear a tight polyester shirt in warm weather, heat accumulates against the skin. Sweat can't evaporate freely. The moist, warm environment that builds up between fabric and skin, that's a kind of pressure your skin wasn't designed to handle for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. For people with sensitive skin, this can mean persistent, low-grade irritation, pores that stay congested, that familiar itching sensation that arrives by afternoon and just doesn't leave. For some, it shows up as body acne, especially on the back, chest, and shoulders, areas where synthetic fabrics press closest. Dermatologists have a term for clothing-related skin reactions: textile contact dermatitis. And while it exists on a spectrum, from mild sensitivity to more pronounced reactions, the condition is far more common than most people realize. Most people just never connect the dots. And then there's something even harder to see. Every time a synthetic fabric moves, every time it bends, stretches, rubs against your skin, it sheds microscopic fibers. Microplastics, invisible to the naked eye, smaller than a grain of sand. These fibers have been found in human lungs, in blood, in tissue samples. Researchers are still understanding what long-term exposure may mean, but the presence alone has shifted how scientists think about synthetic textiles. Your clothes have always shed, but the material they shed from has changed dramatically. The human body never evolved for this. It evolved for cotton, for wool, for linen, for materials that returned to the earth, not for petroleum-derived polymers worn 18 hours a day. This isn't a story about fear. It's a story about awareness. Because once you understand what's touching your skin, something shifts. You start to notice. You start to ask different questions at the store. You start reading labels. You start choosing cotton for what you sleep in, what you exercise in, what you wear closest to the body. Small changes, unhurried, uncomplicated. Your skin has been asking for them for a long time. It's been speaking to you in the only language it knows: sensation, irritation. That constant, unnamed restlessness that lives just beneath the surface of modern comfort. Modern life changed almost everything about how we live, how we eat, how we sleep, how we move. It changed what we wear, too. Maybe it's time we paid attention to that. Your skin already has.